Sup team, W.D. Gaster. What do you think of when I speak his name? Maybe you think of a brooding figure in the background of every scenario. Maybe you think of a mad scientist, goofy or otherwise. Maybe you think of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit or something. All those interpretations are cool as shit. Deltarune hypothesis makes him run a functional lab with other researchers. Device ending, which I still need to play but I've seen the teaser of, makes him this otherworldly and inquisitive force that doesn't understand how terrifying and incomprehensible he really is. And Jack Gibson's him makes him a silent yet imposing deity. My point is, any perception of Gaster that you may have, any archetype you've got in your head is probably from Deltarune. Which, I mean, that makes sense. We've presumably gotten the most Gaster slop in Deltarune out of anything, including some, like, actual characterization, but, of course, Undertale came first, and Gaster's real claim to fame came from his time before Deltarune. Gaster was an absolute mystery. If you were making an Undertale theory video, it was usually about him. Even MatPat got a piece of the pie. 3 times he did. That mystique went into pretty much every fan work regarding him. I'd say the Gaster archetype you didn't see at all before Deltarune Chapter 2 was this goofy, mad scientist archetype. This guy has always been some branch of a godlike figure, or an intimidating super genius. There's many works I could use as examples, but I want to focus on the fan games, because they're my favorite. Old Gaster fan games were just absolutely mental. From the ideas to the mechanics, they all emphasize Gaster's mysterious knowledge and general otherworldliness rather than his connections to other characters like we see with Deltarune fan games. Gaster didn't even have a connection to us, the player, at this point, so he was completely his own man. Well, kind of. He was always connected to Sans, oftentimes Papyrus, and sometimes Alphys, but these connections weren't usually emphasized in Gaster battles over the big man himself, usually. But I'll have to elaborate on that. These are the possibly epileptic epics of Ancient Gaster battles. Yeah, discretion's advised here. Shit gets wicked with the big G. He don't know you like that. Yes, he does. Before we get into the battles, though, there are some prerequisites that I may as well tell you all about now. Gaster Fantracks. Let me tell you, we've consistently cooked insanely hard on Gaster Fantracks ever since the Big G's debut in this fandom. We're cooking just as hard today as we were back then with tracks like Darker Yet Darker by the great Anansi. This one leaded to the idea of Gaster being a glitchy, out-of-place mess. This was, and still is, a super common interpretation of his character, as it's the most logical extension of a character existing on a meta level. If Gaster knows Undertale's a game, then he can use that to his advantage and interact with the game, and he can do scary stuff to it. Darker Yet Darker was the baseline for Gaster Fantracks. Its structure is still used today, with many fight themes being a more intense cover of Gaster's generic do 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 do. This track also established using another medium as a motif. During this time, Gaster was slowly but surely getting all of the credit for every piece of technology in Hotland ever, I swear. Alphys got nothing. There's also Chasing Fireflies as entry number 17. This very well could have been the first ever Gaster fight theme, being released in November of 2015. And that's honestly the most cinematic thing possible because, in my humble opinion, it's the best one to this day. Even though it's a decade old, it's years behind without any knowledge of Deltarune since the game didn't even exist. I don't think Gaster fanworks need Deltarune to be good. If we were to fight Gaster in Undertale, I don't think there'd be a lot of Deltarune stuff, personally. Maybe like 1 or 2 little things, but an Undertale Gaster fight feels like it would work best as some kind of post-game boss to me. Like, the first time we meet Gaster is at the very end of his life, or at least the end of his career, and Deltarune shows what was likely his final, yet proudest achievement. Entry number 17 just, oh my god, slaps insanely hard. For some reason, the best part of the song sounds like the, hear me out, the Angry Birds Transformers map theme. Peep this. Isn't that some good shit, dude? Like, as of writing this video, I just added this to my playlist after a decade because of how well it holds up. Like, genuinely gave me chills upon re-listening. If the great Anansi emphasized Gaster's meta and possibly glitchy nature, then Fireflies emphasized his raw mystique. Even though the man you're fighting is coherent, his motives are not. What he stands for is not. It's like he's some kind of mystery man. Such a good track, man. Out of all of these, this one needs more modern day recognition. I don't think it was ever used in a fan game, which is shocking. Now for easily the most popular Gaster fan track. Shara X's Darker Yet Darker. Without commas this time. That's the difference. It got 42 million views on YouTube. Shara X was and still is known for their super intense covers of video game music, especially Undertale's. This one's the most popular track they ever made, and for good reason. While it isn't a battle theme per se, it's just really damn good. I also cannot mention this track without mentioning this animation by Joel Earhart. It got 31 million views to boot. This song was just the shit, man, I tell you. The animation shows the apparently mystical construction of the core, and it's some insanely good kush. I'd be surprised if you haven't seen it on TikTok or something, like stolen for an edit. Another generational one is Amela's WD Gaster's Megalovania. This one goes for an even more mysterious feel than Fireflies is taking. It's got this intimidating choir that just really does an excellent job at making you feel like wherever you are in the context of this track, you should not be there. Other parts do a stellar job at making the track sound alien yet familiar at the same time. This part feels super out there, but then Amela brings it back by playing Megalovania. The track almost reminds you that you're still in Undertale, even if you aren't meant to be wherever you are. It sets your feet back on the ground, and all these elements come together to make this track feel like it's screaming, "This is real, I am real." Amazing work. This one got huge too, garnering almost 4 million views. The last track I want to mention is Killy Kid's Gaster's Theme Remix. This one got around 2.5 million views, and I think it's just more funny than anything. It's still really good, of course, but it's a prime example of this trend of putting a sick-ass dubstep beat over Gaster's theme. I just think it sounds funny. Like, come on, man. Good work. But especially with modern interpretations of Gaster in mind, I can only see Gaster just doing some bullshit during this track, man. Like Shara X, this definitely isn't meant to be purely a battle theme, but it still went decently hard. You can see the trends here. Gaster was either really mysterious, really meta, really intense, or some flavored mix of each. All of these give valuable insight into the fanon zeitgeist of this character. In my opinion, though, the real sauce is found in old Gaster fan games. Deprived Gaster. Deprived Gaster by a huge Pancake is a perfect example of a Gaster fight acting as a true pacifist post-game. As you can see, we're level 1 here, but it doesn't seem like we're fighting Gaster, but rather the River Person. River Person has mostly been forgotten today, but back in the day, they were all the rage regarding Gaster. Beware the Man Who Speaks in Hands did come from them, after all. Some even went as far as to assume that River Person was Gaster, which I believe Deprived Gaster does. River Gaster waffles about consuming tons of energy to be here before morphing into Toriel, Undyne, and Papyrus. Somehow, though, these are the real deal? They've been kidnapped and are fighting you against their will, presumably after a complete pacifist route. They're even forced to interact with meta elements without knowing it, as they speak through the text box like Gaster does at first. Gaster has been living in a personalized hell ever since his fatal accident. He has learned inconceivable knowledge, but he has zero means to actually apply it in study, and it drives him mad. You fight him at his wit's end, using absurd amounts of power to physically stand before you while holding your friends as a ransom and consuming their own energy. Gaster wants your power too. Not Frisk's power, not the Soul's power, your power. He knows you are above all else. This came out long before Deltarune, by the way. Just saying. I think this battle helped usher the fanon of Gaster attacking with multiple hands. Right now, he only uses 2, but even then, they can turn into and summon various attacks. Of course, there's a truckload of wingdings being flung at you. It's in the name! As aforementioned, Alphys catches strays from Gaster. He almost gets secondhand embarrassment from the Amalgamates. He makes it clear that he believes she is a bumbling idiot, and that he was superior. He would have done so much if he had the time, and he will not rest until he is given the chance to show his apparent superiority. I honestly adore Gaster's characterization, his animation. Oh, that rhymed, but also, it's the animation, forgot to mention, sorry, it's not a game. He's a total fucking nutcase and deprived. Look at this round, cackling chud, dude. And to his credit, he pulls some gangster-ass moves in this fight. One turn, he doesn't let you deal any damage to him to lure you into thinking fighting won't do anything but is needed to progress like Sans, but the next turn he turns into you and makes you hit yourself to precisely 1 HP. He could have made you kill yourself right then and there, but he needs to seize this opportunity in such a specific way that he's taken the time to screw with you. He even lets you heal right after, not even attacking while you set yourself to 1 HP. I love it. I love it. Gaster makes Toriel and Papyrus attack against their own will, and he doesn't let you spare them, period. I'm pretty sure these are the real deal because they talk about being kidnapped, so yeah. You are nonchalantly killing your friends in this nightmare scenario, and they're surprisingly nonchalant about it too. That makes me think they aren't real, but I think they are, so whatever. Toriel's all like, I understand, and Papyrus has inconceivable amounts of aura. Gaster fakes you out again and morphs into Papyrus mid-hit, and Papyrus takes fatal damage. My goat. This seed is hilarious. This really drives Gaster off the deep end, even though he's the one forcing you to kill people. And now he changes into his most iconic form from this fight, Deprived Gaster. Hence the name, he's deprived, completely off his rocker. This is where the multiple hands as attacks trope really came into play. He's got 6 of the things now, and they're turning into blasters and stuff. Really cool, and really foundational for years worth of Gaster content to come. Gaster goes full apeshit on the entire game. Your glam burgers become Gaster burgers. Wonder who would start a ghost kitchen in the void. Hey, wait. Tenna stole that shit. Gaster then infects your computer and turns Undertale into Gaster Tail. That's where it ends. We never get to see Gaster Tail. Never have gotten to. Super duper unfortunate. Deprived Gaster absolutely pioneered Gaster using his apparently abundant hands to attack, and it still is a great example of how to do an insane, desperate Gaster. Albeit, it's a bit rough around the edges in some places, but hey, you gotta respect a huge Pancake, man. They are generational in of themselves. During prime fandom times, they went 3-4-3. Not kidding. You wanna know how? Well, they made Deprived Gaster, duh, and they made Mettaton Neo V 2.0. That one, the first one. And their very, very first Undertale battle animation? Fucking Ultra Sans, that one. The that one. 3-4-3. Gaster Fight. Similar to Deprived, Zacalot's interpretation of a Gaster battle is framed as post-game content. This one is playable, by the way, it's an actual game, but unlike Deprived, this is a post-genocide battle, rather than post-pacifist. Gaster directly speaks to you in a judgmental tone, scolding you for selling your soul to Kara. Guess we gotta briefly touch upon that piece of fanon. For a surprisingly long time, we, as in younger me included, wrongfully interpreted Undertale's genocide ending as Kara being the evil one. Of course, especially now that we're in some sort of enlightenment era, pretty much. It's pretty common knowledge now that Kara has multitudes.
Hey, I like that name.
Back in the day, though, Kara was the true root of all evil. Kara made us do that. Sans was fighting Kara, Gaster was fighting because of Kara. You get the gist. In that regard, Zacalot's Gaster fight is actually pretty unique since, like Deprived, Gaster is speaking to us directly. This was also made way before Deltarune was ever public, by the way. We just really kind of clocked that shit, didn't we? Gaster says that he's simply playing around with the game just like we are. Damn, he really clocked our shit, didn't he? What I really want to talk about is this game's attacks. And that's because there's some pretty decent Blue Soul attack. Oh. Cyan? Blue Cyan? Yeah, Gaster makes you play 2 soul modes at once and even introduces new ones. This is a really fun interpretation of Cyan Soul that I've shockingly only seen done in this fan game, I believe. It makes you stick to blue attacks, allowing you to get extra air time over platforms, or maybe setting up traps for you to get stuck in. Really cool. Alright. Double soul, 2 soul modes. Story Shift Undyne Ultra did that. That's some more ball knowledge for you, Undyne Ultra. So that's fine and dandy. Oh. Blue Cyan Green Soul. Now you got block speeders while doing everything else. Okay. This is such a cool challenge that to this day I believe this has only been done once. Oh. Okay, thank God. It's just purple. It's just purple. Oh, purple, yellow. Purple yellow is actually kind of genius though, I can't lie. The way that you maneuver around the purple lines lets you adjust where you shoot really naturally, actually. Cool stuff. Ooh, we can't keep doing this wing. Well, alright. It reset after 3 last time. 3 is probably the limit. A top one. A sliver of green on top. Purple, yellow, cyan, green soul. Come on. We are grasping for straws here. You gotta eat the souls. Eat the souls. Big G, what are we doing? Big G, what are we doing? Oh my God. We get the floor wiped with this, dude. God almighty. But okay, but seriously, there is a way to avoid this insta-kill. Brother. That's some cool shit, I can't lie. 4. I'm not kidding this time. The actual limit for the amount of soul modes is 4. Purple and blue just aren't compatible, which is surprising considering how notoriously hellish this game already is, and with all the insanity, the game ends with a fat-ass Gaster Blaster slurping you up. Sure. To this day, Zacalot's Gaster Fight genuinely pushed the limits for what attacks can do, but with great power comes great responsibility. The footage I've been showing you is from Zacalot themselves. This game is notoriously kinda bullshit, and I can see why. Quadruple soul modes gotta be like nigh impossible to balance well, but I'm glad we had pioneers who were willing to take the risks at all. Gaster also speaks in wingdings throughout the fight, but besides the intro, I don't know what he says. Never mind, wait, yes I do. Prime Merg has come in clutch here. You do not deserve a quick death. Once again, Gaster's aura farming with his meta powers. Great stuff. And all I could do was watch. That's hype. Can't lie. This game sort of predicted Gaster's cadence in Deltarune. Of course, we already had a glimpse of it in Entry 17, but that was only a glimpse. It was very rare for people to fully write Gaster how he sounded in Entry 17, even though it ended up being correct. Funny how that turns out. Also, you feel sands crawling on your back. Brother! Not much else to say. This game's just dumb fun. This Gaster sprite is also iconic, as it perfectly captures the essence of the Mystery Man sprite in my opinion. Undertale. Distorted, distinctive, dust. Undertale DDD. I want to briefly touch on this one since it isn't all about Gaster. Undertale Distorted Distinctive Destiny, or DDD for short, was a battle animation by the King 35 that pinned you against tons of souped up foes. What made all these fights stand out was that they were pure bullet hell, like Toho level stuff going on here. There's not much reason to go over the entire story, but know that there's multiple timelines going on, and that there is a main one that most of the series takes place in. Gaster's encounter is what's called a, quote, distortion event, a glimpse into an alternate timeline via a collision with the main timeline. You enter the mysterious Grey Rubin waterfall, listening in on a conversation between Gaster and another person. They're able to relate about being stuck in time loops regarding all of Undertale's routes before they sense a distortion and by extension sense you. And the fight begins. DDD's interpretation of Gaster got relatively close to the scientist archetype we have today, actually. Gaster opens up the fight by saying he is excited to finally conduct his experiments on you, whether you like it or not. He makes an example out of Goddard Kid, saying that they can't be harmed since they aren't registered by the inner workings of the world. Not without a vessel. Not without a vessel! Gaster's talking about some needing a vessel to fit into the world in 2017. We're on some copies or monochrome but you colors in with care shit on 2017. Holy shit, DDD. Triple D, you go. Thank God these are just animations. If these got as popular as they did as fan games, I think there'd be balancing discourse to this day. I mean, what are we doing with 2 boxes, Big G? You're always playing, Suvash, man. I'm all for difficult stuff, even though I kind of suck at Undertale fan games, but this is just impossible. Talk about overtuned. All of Triple D is this way, though, so whatever. It's part of the magic. During the final attack, Gaster begins overwriting your save file with a "Oh my God!" Triple D was genuinely on demon time with Gaster's characterization. Even with control of your save, Gaster can't do anything without your input. If the player doesn't want something to happen, then the system won't let it. Any and all actions need consent from the player, and thus Gaster is stuck in the same loop he always has been. Maybe DDD stood for Deltarune Definite Determiner, or something, with how these predictions really stacked up. I highly recommend you watch Triple D because it's kinda cool even outside of Gaster. It's good, dumb, fun. Pacifist, Sans, and Gaster. Not a super crazy one to end off with, I know, but it's pretty dang cool regardless, and we gotta end this at some point. This one's also by Zacalot, and this was their second game. Interesting. What's their first? Oh my god, whoa! The previous Gaster Fight they made was their first ever game. And they pioneered soul modes? Clunky or not, that is wild. Good on, bro. Good on, bro. As the name implies, we have a double feature on our hands. After defeating Papyrus and Snowden, you approach Sans' waterfall station where he would normally ask you to lunch. This time, though, he says that he needs to fight you at least once to keep his job, and thus the Pacifist Sans fight ensues. I am unsure if this was the first game or first piece of media to do this, as I think it was a Papyrus bit at some point in vanilla Undertale, but Sans barely fights you at all by using single, slow-moving bones as attacks. Comical stuff that still is a common trope to this day. There's not much to do inside this fight because of that, though. You can't even spare. Alas, we have to genocide him. Oh my god, wait, whoa, he actually took the hit. Oh. He actually took the hit. Oh, dude, you good? Of course you're good, attaboy. After Sans fulfills his quota, then he asks you if you want to go to Girlby's, which you do. He leads you on one of his shortcuts, but takes a wrong turn into Gaster's hallway of fun. You make it clear to Sans that you want to go in there, even though he warns you that it won't be a good time. One could even call this a bad time of sorts. But being the stubborn little prick we are, we ignore Sans' warnings and opt to catch up with him later. The Gaster fight that ensues is the direct pacifist version of the genocide fight I previously mentioned. Its storyline is more similar to Deprived Gaster, though. Gaster wants to become whole again, and with a human right in front of him, he must seize the opportunity. And seize he does as he turns your soul gray. Yeah, Zacalot truly went 2 for 2 with innovating upon soul modes. From what I can tell, this is the origin point for the rarely used but still popular gray soul mode, like how Papyrus' Revenge explained it. It's like you're on the moon and can switch gravity in all 4 directions. Pretty interesting, and also pretty hard to adjust to and get down, especially since Gaster gives you 0 time to learn, opting to throw some bullshit at you head first. Good call, Big G. Gaster somehow is less chill here than he did in Zacalot's genocide interpretation. He pibbies all over the place, man. He does another cool thing that was also pretty innovative too. Gaster inverts the screen, changing the rules so that his attacks shoot out safe spots, as they are now black like the battle box. This shit is radical, and I'm surprised it hasn't been done more often. Breathe your last breath. In 2016, Unk always had it, I guess. Gaster starts fuming after that line and tries to insta-kill you, only for Sans to step in and save your ass. He's been here the whole time out of worry. Didn't want you to go in there for a reason. Sans is now helping you beat Gaster, not just escape, but beat him, and beat him he does. Sans shoots his old friend in the face, and that's how the game ends. Holy classic not niche auras. Like Zacalot's first Gaster fan game, I really just want to talk about the attacks, but the scenarios this guy puts you in are consistently funny and generational at the same time. Of course I am biased, as I'm sure many of you are. For me, this has been a trip down memory lane. A lot of these Gaster battles had me thinking, how did I think this was the shit back in the day? And that's because the bar for fan games has been raised so high since back then, for better or for worse. Okay, actually, if I can get on a soapbox for a second, these fights still are the shit, and I mean that unironically. In my opinion, I think the bar raising so high has caused less widespread creativity, especially in the fan game scene. You still have little Timmy making a scratch fan game, sure, but I mean, quote-unquote lower quality fan works don't really get popular for their concepts anymore. Rather, they get popular because they get clowned on. I don't think that's right, man. I'm a strong believer of letting creatives do whatever the hell they want, and you know that already if you've seen my Canonicity Undertale video, where I go more in depth on my thoughts. But I truly believe that if these games' animations were made today, even ignoring new Gaster characterization from Deltarune, that they would be known for their rough edges rather than their creative cores. Zacalot's Pacifist Ancient Gaster Fight would probably get like, I don't know, like a dub by Biddy or something. Something, I don't know. I mean, there's a final Gaster fan game that I'll only briefly touch on that has had this happen. Undertale Battle Mode. You've probably heard of this. Don't recognize it? Well, I'm sure you recognize this.
I'm Wing Gaster, the Royal Science...
Battle Mode was a whole playable series of pacifist and genocide what-ifs, and it was probably made by like 2 middle schoolers or something. My point is not that we should be biased towards fan games that are made by kids, by the way. I think we need to be more open toward fan works, period. That also doesn't mean that I don't think some of these are funny, like the generic poor grammar scratch fan games are still undoubtedly funny, and Battle Mode is still the funniest fan game of all time, and I don't even think it's because of Wing Gaster. Making light of a fan work's flaws isn't the same as actively putting it down, which from what I can tell happens a lot nowadays because of how hard some of us are cooking. Like, I can be truthful here. Battle Mode's not that good. It's super buggy. The menus don't work sometimes, and the sprite work is something to say the least. But you know what Battle Mode did? It contributed something. Regardless of what that something is, I think that's beautiful in of itself. Wing Gaster, you are beautiful to me. As beautiful as the moon. All in all, my point in bringing up the Wing is that so many of the most foundational works of art that have come from this community, whether or not they have led to shitposts or serious tropes, have come from the don't give a fuckers. I think the don't give a fuckers could get a little bit more respect in the modern Undertale Deltarune space. That's all. Getting down on the soapbox now. Just like with foundational forgotten fan games, this really made me appreciate the past. That's my goal with all these quote-unquote history videos, to build appreciation for this community's past and inspire its future. I really think if I had people hyping this shit up during my formative years, I'd probably be a game developer or like composer by now, dude. Hashtag spread the love. Gaster continues to get that love to this day, of course. Device Ending, Deltarune Hypothesis, Him, and many other fan works that I probably can't even count on my 2 hands and feet do him justice in various ways. But there is a clear divide between pre-Deltarune and post-Deltarune Gaster fights that I find fascinating. None of the works I mentioned here had any ounce of goofiness in Gaster's character, and any comedy, like Zacalot's interpretations or the Big Wing, were completely unintentional. I think the kooky mad scientist archetype is the only Gaster trope to truly come from just Deltarune, not Undertale. Now Gaster's a full-blown experimentalist, sometimes excited by or terrified of his work. I do believe most Gaster encounters have roots in the fan works of yore though, subconscious or not. So many old fan battles got dangerously close to clocking his connection with the player, which was never even hinted at in Undertale, so I guess the fanon just kinda happened to become canon. We always cook. I don't care. Keep making stuff. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Keep making stuff. Keep gastering around. Keep doing whatever the hell y'all want. I cannot stress that enough. Maybe you could make the next big Gaster trope, but even if you don't, throwing your hat in the ring's always a really good time. And that's what I want to leave y'all off with. Team, create for the sake of creation, goddammit. And that's the Ancient Gaster Medias. Thank you all for watching my Ancient Gaster Medias. Make sure, check these games and animations out if you want to. And also make sure to subscribe, as per usual, subscribe. Join the Discord server. Submit fan mail if you so choose. We actually have fan mail. I need to click into the Gmail as we speak. I just remember we actually have fan mail. It's from a buddy, but whatever. Whatever. And now, gonna do it the formal way. There's an info card up there, so you don't drag it out. So, go watch the fan mail from Randude. Alrighty. Subscribe, join the Discord server, Banch and Basement bind it, buy Anara, besides Randude and the fan mail viewers, go!